Just a reminder to vote in this week's Locals poll, where you decide what deck I take to Locals every single week. Without any further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today we have the deck profile for the deck we took to Locals this past week, being Lunalight. We did fairly good. We got 2 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. So ultimately, I think we did pretty good, especially since the store had not yet updated its ban list, so there were all sorts of things running around. So, yeah, here's a quick look to what it looks like on paper, then we'll get to the card by card. Alright, so starting out, we're going to cover the Pendulum monsters. I'm running 2 copies of Lunalight Wolf and then the 1 Lunalight Tiger. As of the time of recording, being in very early June 2024, Lunalight Tiger is still limited to 1. And basically, it just serves as a monster reborn to use as fusion material. Lunalight Wolf, it lets you fusion summon by vanishing. So that's really good for late game, or if they stop your initial play, you can just go into Wolf for fusion summons. So that's really nice. That's basically all you play Wolf for, is for the fusion summoning pendulum effect. Next, gonna go on to the regular effect monsters now. I am running 2 copies of Lunalight Crimson Fox. So all of these, they have effects that trigger when they're sent to the grave by a card effect. With Crimson Fox, you get to target a monster on the field and reduce that target's attack to 0. This, of course, helps facilitate OTKs. Lunalight is a OTK style deck. And also, another thing that helps with that is Lunalight Blue Cat. So, when this one is special summoned, you get to target a different Lunalight monster that you control, and its attack becomes double its original attack till the end of the turn. And then it's also a battle recruiter. If it gets destroyed, you get to special summon a new Lunalight from your deck. But it's mainly going to be for that attack double effect, just trying to push for OTKs. Next monster is going to be 3 copies of Lunalight Kaleido Chick. So Kaleido Chick, when it's on the field, you can send a monster from your hand or deck to the, your deck or extra deck to the graveyard for cost, in order to have this card's name be treated as the sent monster's name for a fusion summon. Although I will say that, just as a general ruling, based on how the Lunalight cards are worded, if they're sent to the graveyard for cost, they do not get to trigger, so they have to be sent for the effect. So that is very important. And then it also has another effect that when it gets banished, your opponent can't activate anything during the battle phase. So that's nice. Alright, next is Lunalight Emerald Bird. And this is actually going to help elaborate on what I mentioned about being able to trigger when sent for the effect rather than cost. So if you look closely at Emerald Bird's effect, it says, if this card is normal special summoned, colon. Okay, so if there's a colon or semicolon, that's part of the cost or the requirement. So with this one, since the sending a Lunalight card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you draw a card is after the colon or semicolon, it will trigger the effects. But then for something like, say, Lunalight Kaleido Chick, where it says once per turn you can send the Lunalight monster from deck or extra deck to the graveyard, semicolon, that will not work. So just a little bit of a ruling explanation there. But yeah, this one's draw power, and then if it's sent to the grave by a card effect, you get to revive one just to help you fusion climb if you need to. Next is Lunalight Yellow Martin. So this is one of the main ones that you're using. When it's sent to the grave by a card effect, you get to search a Lunalight spell or trap, and then while it's in your grave, you can bounce a Lunalight card on your field to your hand to special summon it, but it is banished when it leaves the field. So again, extra bodies for fusion summons, and then it helps search your Lunalight fusion. Next, going into 1 copy of Purple Butterfly and then 2 White Rabbit. So Purple Butterfly, basically, you send it from your hand to the grave to give a Lunalight an extra 1,000 attack. And then you can banish it from your grave to special summon one from your hand. mainly for the in-hand effect, just, again, trying to push for OTKs. White Rabbit. So this one, when it's normal summon, you get to revive a non-White Rabbit Lunalight monster from your grave, and then you can also target spells or traps your opponent controls equal to the other number of other Lunalight monsters you control and destroy them, or excuse me, and bounce them. Yeah, not destroy. That'd be too good, but it bounces them back to the hand. So this one's really good with like baiting imperms and things like that if you want to see what column it's in. So that's really nice. It's also good for getting rid of things like Eternal Soul, which is what I did against Dark Magician with that. Final monster, going into 2 copies of Lunalight Black Sheep. So with this one, you can discard it to activate one of 2 effects. You can either add a Lunalight monster from your graveyard back to your hand that is not Black Sheep, or you can search for a polymerization. And then if it's used as fusion material and sent to the grave, you can add a Lunalight monster back from your grave, or one from your extra deck if there's one face up. But that one usually doesn't. That effect usually doesn't matter that much. Next, going to the spells. So this is the only searchable spell off of the Yellow Martin, being Lunalight Fusion, and we also run 3. So obviously this is an OTK deck, so you want to go second. And so it lets you fusion summon a Lunalight Fusion monster from your extra deck using, hand or field, standard fusion spell stuff. But if your opponent controls a monster special summon from the extra deck, you can also use a Lunalight monster in your deck or extra deck as fusion material, which is really good for going straight into your big fusions. So that's really nice. Next is Lunalight Perfume. And if you look, there's actually a space here. So like Lunalight Fusion, there's no space. Lunalight Perfume, there's a space. So unfortunately, this card is not searchable. Big sad. Because it's really good. Basically, it's a monster reborn for Lunalights, and then you can banish it from your graveyard for the cost. Or excuse me, you can banish it from your graveyard, then discard 1 card for the cost in order to add a Lunalight monster from your deck to your hand. So, again, going back to the thing I was talking about with Emerald Bird, it says you can banish this card from your graveyard, then discard 1 card, semicolon. So that's part of the cost. So unfortunately, you can't trigger a Lunalight effect by discarding it off of this, unfortunately. But it's good for searching. I usually like to search things like Wolf to extend into a second big fusion after summoning the first one. But yeah, it's a pretty good card. Next, I'm running 2 copies of Polymerization, and I'm also running 1 Fusion Recovery. So I'm using the 2 Poly to mirror the ratio with Black Sheep, so that way I don't just brick on nothing but Polys. And then I'm also running the Fusion Recovery because I can get a monster that was back in order to Fusion Climb, or I can use Wolf as a material with Polymerization. Activate this, then add the Wolf back and the Poly, so then I can activate Wolf and go for another Fusion Summon by banishing. So it's just a way to kind of slow your roll in a way, because, the deck is pretty gassy in a way, if that makes sense. Like, it's all gas, you're just go, get big monster, boom, 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 you're dead. So this allows for a little bit of more resource recursion in case I'm in a grindy game. Next, of course, my favorite card in the entire game, Allure of Darkness for draw power, of course. And then if you banish a Kaleido Chick, its effect will activate, so that's really nice too. Next, I'm running 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. There's another trap that we're going to talk about here that has a grave effect. So you're either sending the Lunalight Perfume or that trap to serve as either a starter or an extender, basically whichever one you want. Some of the limited cards, running 1 Foolish Burial, because, that does trigger the Lunalight effects, and it's also grave setup. And then Monster Reborn, of course, get a body for a fusion summon. Pretty self-explanatory. Moving on to the traps now. There are only 3 traps. 1 Lunalight Reincarnation Dance, and 2 Lunalight Serenade Dance. So we're going to cover Reincarnation Dance first. Basically, if something on your field, or if a monster on your field is destroyed, then you get to add up to 2 Lunalight monsters from your deck to your hand. So this is another way to search Wolf. If they out one of our fusions, then we can just search Wolf and immediately go into another one. So that's nice. Now, Serenade Dance. This is the one I was talking about with Foolish Burial Goods. So basically, I mean, it does have an on-field effect where it summons a token to your opponent's field and then increases the fusion summon monster's attack by 500 for every monster on their field. But usually that doesn't come up because you want to dump this to the graveyard, or even if you draw it, if you're able to get a Lunalight Perfume in the graveyard, a really great thing to do is banish this, discard this, and then search, because then you can send what you searched for that to get special summon. Because the graveyard effect of Serenade Dance says, and I'm going to pull it up here just to reiterate what I was talking about. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, semicolon. Send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon a Lunalight from your deck. So yes, this will allow, because the semicolon is before or is after banish this card from your graveyard. Alright, so since send 1 card from your hand is after the semicolon, your Lunalight effects will get to trigger. So this can help you special summon Blue Cat to double your fusion monster's attack, and you also get additional grave setup as well. So yeah, that's really nice. There were a couple times where I would either have this or the Lunalight Perfume. Like, I'd have either one or both in hand. Then, like, I'd use the Perfume, then banish, discard, and then banish, send, special. Or you could send this from your deck to the grave with Foolish Burial Goods, discard this, get a special and a search. So yeah, that's pretty nice little synergy there. Moving on to the extra deck now. This one's going to be very, very simple. It's only 3 of each of the Lunalight fusions. So again, very, very quick here. 3 Cat Dancer. It can't be destroyed by battle. It just takes 2 Lunalights. That's basically all you need to know. You're never really summoning this unless you're forced to go first, and then I just like to summon it in defense position and pass. That way I keep the maximum amount of cards in my hand as possible, because chances are your opponent's going to get rid of this. So that way I can have them overcommit and then just punish them for it. Next, Lunalight Panther Dancer. This is the main one that you're sending off of Kaleido to copy the name, because Leo Dancer requires Panther Dancer as fusion material. So that's why that's in there. Next, 3 copies of Lunalight Saber Dancer. So this is one I'm going to elaborate on a little bit. So it has a continuous effect that gains 200 for each beast warrior that is banished or in the graveyards. So that does count for your opponents as well. And then it cannot be targeted by card effects. So targeting protection is really nice. One of my opponents tried to imperm this during the battle phase to decrease its attack, but of course it can't be targeted, so imperm could not be activated, so he just had to sadly reset it. And then it does have a grave effect as well, where during the main phase, except the turn it's sent to the grave, you can banish it to target one of your other Lunalight fusions and increase his attack by 3,000. So that's really, really nice. And yes, you can target another Saber with this as well. During the match with Trickstars, I had one of these. It was at like 5,400 or something, because I got hit with double Trickstar Reincarnation. And then he super polyed it away, because it was like Trickstar, Kashtira, Staple Pile kind of deal. It was a really fun match. So then I summoned another Saber the next turn, because I had Wolf in my Pendulum Scale, then activated the one he super polyed to bring it up to 9,200 and swung for game. It was absolutely epic. Oh, that was such a great match. Like you can't see me right now, but I have this huge smile on my face just thinking about it. It was a wonderful match. So fun. All right, and then finally, we have Lunalight Leo Dancer. So Leo Dancer, it does require the Panther Dancer, which is why Kaleido Chick is so important. but that's also why Lunalight Fusion is also so important, being able to send one from your extra deck. You do have to use 2 other Lunalight monsters, so it is quite a steep investment, but it is worth it in this deck because it cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects. It has 3,500 base attack. It can attack twice, and at the end of the damage step, whenever it battles a monster, or whenever it attacks a monster, then you get to blow up all your opponent's special summon monsters. So essentially, you attack one of their special summon monsters, destroy it, activate its effect, wipe their field, and then attack directly for at least 35. And then when you're able to summon Blue Cat, you're able to pump this up to 7,000, which is something I was able to do against, I think, Dark Magician? I think I OTK'd him with that. The Blue Cat Leo combo, I think. I think it was Dark Magician. But anyways, yeah, that's going to be it for the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed. This is a really fun deck to play. Although I will say, and I also lamented this in the locals poll, but of course, if you're watching this way after that was posted, then it would have been deleted. But this deck just needs like one really good, solid normal summon or some type of extender that allows you to like either dump something to the graveyard or let you search something. Like, it's just missing one good card away from being, like, really, really good. But that's enough of my lamentations for Lunalight. I will hope for Lunalight support, and I would love to bring this deck back to locals once it does get more support, hopefully in the near future. Fingers crossed. But, yeah, it's a really fun deck. It's also really cheap. So I highly recommend it to people that just want a fun OTK fusion strategy, or even for beginners. I highly recommend this deck for beginners as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe, vote in the locals poll, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you next time.